Hello, I'm Suzanne Smith from Reconnecting You, and in this video I want to talk about the hidden beliefs that can keep people stuck in fatigue. This is a really important part of the energy picture because sometimes fatigue is not only about what's happening for you physically. Sometimes there are old beliefs, old patterns, old emotional responses and old rules that are quietly shaping how you live and how you use your energy every single day. And often we don't even realize that they're there. They just feel like the truth. They feel like this is just the way I am. They're the sort of things that might sound like I should be able to cope. Strong people push through. Rest is lazy. My worth, my value comes from being productive. I can't let people down. I have to keep going. Now, if you're someone living with fatigue, those beliefs can become incredibly draining because your body may be asking you to stop, to rest, to soften or slow down, or maybe just do things differently. But the belief that's running in your head may be saying, keep going. So you end up with this kind of internal conflict. Your body's asking for one thing, your mind, your conditioning, perhaps your old rules are demanding something else. And that conflict uses up your precious energy. One of the questions I often ask people is, what would you have to believe about yourself in order to see acceptance as failure? Now, it's a question that can bring up a lot, because if acceptance feels like failure, there may well be a belief sitting underneath it. Something like, I should be stronger. I should be able to manage. If I rest, then I'm being lazy. If I slow down, well, then I'm weak. I can't keep up. If I can't do what I used to do, then maybe I'm just not good enough anymore. And the interesting thing is that many of these beliefs were not consciously chosen, because we absorb our beliefs as we grow up. They come from our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, our coaches, maybe the school environment that we went to, our workplace, the cultural messages that we get, and the life experiences that we have. And very often, we never actually identify exactly what our beliefs are, and we very rarely go back and check whether those beliefs are still true and valid for us, or whether they're even helping us. And it's possible that a belief that once protected you can later become the very thing that's exhausting you. For example, if you have a belief that you must try your hardest, it can be a wonderful belief to see you through school, or working towards qualifications, or learning something new. But if you're in an exhausted body and try your hardest is still driving every decision, it may push you far beyond what your body can manage. So the belief that once helped you achieve what you wanted to do can later become part of the problem that's keeping you in a depleted, low energy state. And this is why awareness matters, because once you can see the belief, you can begin to question it. A simple exercise that I use with clients is called the tabletop. Imagine a table, and on top of the table is the belief that you hold, and underneath it are the legs that are holding the table in place. The legs are the evidence that you've gathered over a whole lifetime that support the belief that's sitting on top of the table. So, for example, if you had a belief that says, rest is lazy, You might ask, where did I learn that? Who said things like that? What did I see growing up? What happened when I rested? What messages did I absorb? You might remember being called lazy for staying in bed. You might remember rest only being allowed after all the jobs were done. You might remember being praised for keeping going and pushing through. You might remember seeing adults around you who never stopped, no matter how tired they were. All of that becomes evidence. And then when you pause and ask yourself, how does this belief feel in my body? You might notice that it feels heavy or tight or sad or angry or maybe pressurized or contradicted. And then you can create another table. This time you choose a different possibility, a different belief to put on top of that table. So maybe you might choose that rest supports my energy, or listening to my body is wise, or my worth is not based on productivity. Then you look for all the evidence, the legs on that table that help you to see whether or not this belief is also true. When has rest helped? When has pushing through made things worse? When have you made a kinder choice and felt better for you? Who do you know who rests without judging themselves? Where have you seen that slowing down can actually be a wise thing to do? And when you've gathered all of your evidence, why don't you notice how that feels in your body when you look at that table? Often people feel a little more space, a little more softness, a little more possibility. And then the final step is to ask yourself, which of the two beliefs do I want guiding my decisions about moving forwards? You don't have to force it. You don't have to suddenly believe something that doesn't feel true yet. But you can begin to loosen the grip on an old belief. That really matters, because small shifts in belief create small shifts in behaviour. And small shifts in behaviour can completely change how you use your energy over time. So I'd love to leave you with this thought. What belief might be quietly shaping the way you use your energy? Is it still helping you? Or is it time to revisit that belief? Because sometimes the path to more energy begins not with pushing harder, but with questioning the old rules that you've been living by.